My, what a great crowd we have here this morning. 15 to be exact. Glad to have the turnout. My question is, don't you folks have anything better to do? I mean, yard work or, cleaning the oven, washing your car, straightening out the pantry, something. I guess not, because you're here with a bunch of other folks who must have a lot of time on their hands as well. But, that's a good thing, because in these trying times, our troops need all the support from back home that we can muster. So to you, I say, thanks for your support, and good morning, my fellow patriots. Welcome to the 355th consecutive Friday meeting of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots. Thanks for your presence here this morning as we assemble to demonstrate our support for the important mission of R.E.D, to remember everyone deployed. Speaking of our deployed troops, I'm saddened to report again that according to U.S. Central Command last Thursday, March 12, around 2 p.m. Eastern Time, a U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker refueling airplane crashed in western Iraq near the Jordanian border during a return from a combat mission related to Operation Epic Fury, resulting in the death of 6 crew members on board. The crash occurred in friendly airspace during an incident involving another KC-135, which sustained minor damage, but thank goodness landed safely. The airmen were assigned to the 6th Air Refueling Wing at MacDill Air Force Base in Florida and the 121st Air Refueling Wing at Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base in Columbia, Ohio. The U.S. service members killed were Major John Alex Kleiner, 33 years of age, of Birmingham, Alabama; Captain Ariana Savino, 31, of Covington, Washington; Tech Sergeant Ashley Pruitt, 34, of Bardstown, Kentucky; Captain Seth Koval, 38, of Mooresville, Indiana; Captain Curtis Angst, 30, of Wilmington, Ohio; and Tech Sergeant Tyler Simmons, 28, of Columbus, Ohio. To date, the U.S. has lost 13 service members in Operation Epic Fury, 7 by enemy fire, and more than 200 wounded from Iranian retaliatory strikes. Most injuries are reported as minor, with around 180 personnel returning to duty, while at least 10 injuries are classified as serious. U.S. troop injuries occurred in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bahrain, Iraq, and Israel. Please join me in a silent prayer for those service members killed and those that have been wounded in this conflict. Thank you. As a parent who raised teenage kids, I've had a few debates, some even might call arguments, with my kids in their youth. Not unlike many of you, I'm sure. And I've concluded that every teenager at some time in their youth thinks they've found the perfect argument to contest a parent's will. That is, until their dad has the final word. I recall when my teenage son had just earned his Texas learner's permit, and he asked me if we could talk about him using the family car on an occasion. I said, all right, son, I'll consider that, but let's make a deal. I said, bring your grades up from a C average to a B. Spend a little time studying your Bible and get your hair cut. Then we'll talk about the car. Well, reluctantly, my son agreed to my proposal. 6 weeks later, we sat down again and I said, son, I'm really proud of you. Your grades are up, and I've noticed you reading your Bible a lot more. I said, but I'm really disappointed you still haven't cut your hair. Well, my son thought about that for a moment. And he said, well, Dad, while studying the Bible, I noticed something. He said, Moses had long hair. John the Baptist had long hair. Samson had long hair. And many people believe Jesus had long hair too. Well, I kind of smiled and I said, that may be true, son. But did you also notice they walked everywhere they went? Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to take this opportunity to introduce a few guests that we have. We have Nancy Otterholt with us today. Nancy, will you please stand?
Hello.
Nancy, you are here with your husband who recruited you to join us, and Barry has just started to visiting with us here most recently as well. So we're glad to have you out with us. You guys are out of Washington State.
That's right.
And I would assume you'll be heading back soon?
Very soon, yeah. Still rainy and drizzly there, but cooler.
We'll be keeping in touch with you during your absence from the Valley, and you'll know what's going on here. Just keep us informed about what's going on with you guys.
Will do.
Thank you for joining us. Roger Faust, where are you?
I found him.
Roger is right up front. Roger is a United States Army veteran, served 68 to 71, and you're a radio operator.
Part-time.
And 05 Charlie?
Yeah, that was radio teletype. I flew as a door gunner. Whatever they decided to do with me.
You were a pretty versatile guy, I'm sure.
Somewhat.
You're a Michiganite.
Don't hold it against me.
And you'll be returning soon, I'm sure, as well, right?
Yes, April 7th I leave.
We hope to have you back here in Mesa real quick, like next
January.
Next January.
I sure hope so. This is my 6th or 7th year down here. I love it.
Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Also, we have Terry Heinrich and Ken Choquette. How do you pronounce that?
Kenzie Choquette.
Kenzie Choquette. Kenzie, I'm going to see it now. Terry and Kenzie Choquette.
Yeah.
Give you a little quick story. A couple of nights ago, a group of us were dining over at BJ's restaurant in Mesa. Sitting right next to us was this couple with their kids. And Terry asked if he could take a photograph of our group, and I said sure. So he grabbed a snapshot. A little while later, I took a card over him and invited him and Kinsey to join us, and here they are today. We certainly appreciate you. We certainly appreciate you taking me up on that offer, and you guys are going to be heading back to Nebraska soon.
Yep.
Keep us in mind, and when we return, we'd love to have you back.
Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, we have Dick and Michelle Smith. And Dick and Michelle are here out of the Golden State of California visiting with Jim and Sue Kenyon.
We are.
And you're going to be here for how long?
About a week.
And then you'll be returning. Are you going to be able to deal with this heat?
No. 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 And Sue says the pool is too cold to use. I think she's wrong.
It's hibernation time, but
There
we're
you go.
glad to have you with us today.
Thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
your
joining
service.
us. Who is our? We have 2 Korean War vets. How many Korean? We've got Ken over here as well. Raise your hands to you Korean War vets back there. You've got 3 of them in this room today. All right, I do believe it's time for a little show and tell, but Mike is the chair, the president of the East Valley Apache Junction Purple Heart group here. And he's been a long time come on up here, Mike. He's been a long time participant of our Red Friday program. And he and his wife Judy are very involved with our program here, and we appreciate it much. But he asked if he might be able to provide you a little insight on a little, this was a family member, grandfather, correct?
Grandfather, yes,
All
that's
right.
correct. My grandfather, Minor Francis Hanson, I got a little bit of bio here on him. He was born in Salt Lake in 1892.
Hold the mic up, Mike.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my glasses on so I can read this. He enlisted in the Army in 31 August of 1918. Medical Corps was shipped to France right in the middle of the influenza epidemic. Unfortunately, he got infected, and I'm assuming he got a medical discharge because he wasn't in very long. He was released 15 February of 1919. Unfortunately, it weakened his heart, and he passed away in 1945. But World War I. My father, he was paratrooper, Europe, World War II. My stepdad was combat engineers, Pacific, World War II. I've got an uncle that was World War II and Korea. Stepbrother was in Korea. I was in Vietnam, all Army.
Hooah!
Hooah! Yeah. Unfortunately, I had 2 cousins that went turncoat. They went Navy. That's a picture of my grandfather. This is hanging in my bedroom. It's one of those curved, and it doesn't have the glass, so it's very, very, I mean, you take it in 1919, it's just very, very fragile. So I took a picture of it so that we could display it here. And, I'm rather proud of the fact that, well, actually, my uncle was the one that gave it to me on his deathbed, and I cherish it. Unfortunately, I don't have any veterans younger than me in our family because they all just basically stayed civilian. But when I go, somebody in the family will get it. I'm not sure who yet, but my grandfather served. My family has a history of military service.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Interesting story there for the family history, Mike. Thank you for sharing that. Also, I would like to ask Susan Kenyon to come up, please. Susan and her husband Jim are extremely involved with our Red Friday program here. Her husband Jim is a co-coordinator for our program. Susan is one of our greeters that has major league contributions to this organization, and we appreciate her. She has a story on a family member as well. Yep.
My great-great-grandfather, Stephen D. Burns, was enlisted in the Union Army. And there's his regular picture. This close? Yeah. Okay. And then you have his enhanced picture then? The next one? Yes, please. And this is an enhanced picture, courtesy of Larry Smith. Thank you so much. I mean, Larry, yes, right, Larry. Sorry. Okay. So he was enlisted in the Union Army on February 1862. He finished his 16 days of basic training and was promoted to a private on February 22nd of 1862. He was assigned to the 103rd Pennsylvania Infantry, Company H, and there were several companies formed from about 13 different counties, in Pennsylvania. And it is important to note that the companies were often combined during the Civil War due to casualties, so I'm not sure if he stayed in the same company or not throughout the time in the war. The Pennsylvania companies were formed in Kittanning, Pennsylvania, from September 1861 to February of 1862. They were deployed, then he was deployed to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, February 24th, 1862. And June of 1862, the 103rd was sent to Washington, D.C., and was assigned to the 4th Army Corps, 2nd Division, until April 1862. From this time on, Private Burns has many travels and engagements while he served in the war. Then Private Burns was assigned to Wessel's Brigade in the 7th Corps, Department of Virginia. He was in the Second Battle of Bull Run, or Manassas, Virginia, in March of 1862. He was ordered to the Pennsylvania campaign of the end of March. He was in the siege of Yorktown from April to May of 1862 and involved with the Battle of Yorktown on April 11th. Then he was involved in the battle at Williamsburg in May and the Battle of Fair Oaks, or Seven Pines, from the end of May through June. Private Burns then went to a campaign called 7 Days Before Richmond, which included the battles of Brackett's Landing, Malvern Hill in July. The Corps then went to a stand down at Harrison's Landing until August 16th of 1862. While at Harrison Landing, Private Burns was promoted to First Sergeant on August 1st of 1862. First Sergeant Burns spent the rest of 1862 near Suffolk, Virginia, and Franklin, Virginia. On December 4th, he was ordered to New Bern, North Carolina. While in this area, he participated in many expeditions and smaller skirmishes throughout North Carolina. Some of the battles included Southwest Creek, Kinston, Whitehill, and Goldsboro. On May 1st of 1863, First Sergeant Burns was promoted to Second Lieutenant Burns. Then by the end of 1863 and beginning of 1864, he was in Plymouth, North Carolina. He was in that area. In the siege of Plymouth, North Carolina, April of 1864, Second Lieutenant Burns was one of the many in his regiment who were captured. And unfortunately, I have no knowledge of what happened to him after he was captured. And then there was one more photo. And this is just a picture of my great-uncle Homer Burns, and he was in the Salt War, and from there I don't know anything more about him. So I thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Beautiful. Your great-grandfather had a lot of activity while he was in the military, to say the least. Carrie Confederate come up. Before she comes up, let me give you a little history about Carrie. Carrie is a United States Army veteran with 2 combat tours, 1st and 4th Infantry Divisions, sharing the Combat Medics Badge. To qualify for the United States Army's Combat Medical Badge, medical personnel must meet the following criteria: They must be assigned or attached to a combat unit of a brigade or smaller size. They must provide medical support while the unit is engaged in ground combat. They must be personally present and under fire, and they must be in actual contact with the enemy. The Combat Medical Badge was created as a companion badge to the Combat Infantry Badge, with criteria for its awarded intended to parallel that of the Combat Infantry Badge. It was designed to provide recognition to the field medic who accompanies the infantryman into battle and shares with the experiences unique to the infantry in combat. Carrie, will you come on up? I think that you have some things here that you would like to present.
I'm not one for public speaking. But last week when Sergeant Major Nation said it was for show and tell, there were a couple of things I wanted to bring. I have 2 items that took place in World War II. Both of them belong to my grandfathers. One of them, we'll start with this one. This is a prayer book that was carried by my grandfather Confederac, my dad's dad, Ted Confederac, in World War II. My dad carried this with him in Vietnam as well. Inside, there's a photo of my grandpa Confederac, and I never got the chance to meet him. He died shortly before I was born. So I like to think, I carried it with me in Afghanistan as well. So I like to think that I carried a piece of him and my dad with me when I was over there. Thank you. Inside of it, my dad kept a log of some of the places that he was at in Vietnam, probably when morale was at its lowest, and that's going to conjoin into here. I also kept a log of the places that I went to when I was in Afghanistan. My dad's father also served in World War II, William Kenny. I brought his e-tool with me. I'm pretty sure he didn't coin the phrase, there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole. But this is the e-tool that he had with him in World War II and in Battle of the Bulge. So I'm really proud to have these items that I keep with me. I also brought a photo book of my mother's father with me. If you guys are welcome to come up and look at them afterwards. Thank you.
Outstanding. Outstanding, Carrie. Thank you for sharing that story with us. Also, we have Pat McNeil. Pat, where are you? Come on up, Pat. Pat is a relatively newcomer. He's a United States Navy veteran. He's a relatively newcomer to our Red Friday program, but he is also extremely involved with the annual
The Southwest Veterans Foundation. We do the Patriots Ball every year, so I'm the co-chair for that. So, where are we at? So I had the privilege in the Navy of doing 2 really good jobs that I loved. The first one was photography. I was a Navy photographer when I started, and the second one was in the intelligence field. I did a lateral conversion. And as any veteran will tell you, as soon as your chain of command finds out that you have hidden talents, they exploit those. And so the combination of me having a background in photography as well as in the intelligence field, I got to do some pretty cool things. In the early 1980s, the Navy decided to recommission the battleships and bring them back into service. And of course, once they got through the refit and the refurb and getting them all manned up, they kind of did a modified show of force or show the flag around the world. In the early 1980s, I was stationed in the Philippines, and the USS New Jersey was the first ship that came out to do kind of a world cruise and show the flag. And she participated in several exercises while I was in the Philippines. And during those exercises, we would fly the P-3 Orions over them to do some reconnaissance. So they'd get some practice doing reconnaissance flights over the ships, and the ships would then get a chance to do some exercises and that sort of thing. And one of the cool things that, and where's my thing in here? One of the cool talents that I had was I was tasked with putting together mosaics of the targets that were captured, whether they were real or in an exercise. And the other good part is that my command owned the photo lab. And so I just had them make an extra set of prints for me, because you never know when you're going to make a mistake, right? And so I put this together in 1983 or 84, and that is the USS New Jersey, overflown by a P-3 Orion. Now, little did I know that 5 years later, I would re-enlist on this same ship in Admiral Halsey's stateroom in Sydney Harbor during the Australian bicentennial, where I met my lovely wife. So that's just a piece of the history that I have and carry with me. My intent, of course, is to refurbish this and get it framed so I can hang it in my bar with some of my other memorabilia. But that's just one of the fond memories that I had back in my service days.
You did hear him reference the fact this was going in his bar. I'm available anytime, Pat. We can pop a top. We can pop a top. Ken McNeil, where are you? Ken. I'm sorry, not McNeil. Ken, where are you? Ken, you got something you want to show? Hop on up here, my friend. Ken has been quite active with our Red Friday program for some time now, and he participated in some of our previous show and tell programs, and I'm sure that he has something most interesting that he wants to share this morning. I haven't even looked in or peeked into your bag, Ken.
Hey, my daughter earned this, and Sergeant Major knows what it's all about. She was a graduate of Gonzaga University. She wound up as a second lieutenant, butter bar, and she spent some time on the Saudi Peninsula. With that said, the sad moment that my wife and I have is my daughter has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and it's amazing that the VA attributes that to her duty where she was. And I said, how can that be? She said, Dad, they have the data, 4 to 5 times more neurological problems for our veterans happen in that particular part of the world. But here's a good note. You can't see this little baby. I was stationed in Germany in 1964. I purchased this Jaguar XKE. Now that was a babe machine, I'll tell you, and I was 24 years old. I slept in my room with a padlock. I wasn't worried about them stealing my car. These crazy people climbing walls looking for the guy that owned it. Now, this license plate was government issue. You notice the numbers? Juliet, 1776, with an extra lucky 7 right in the middle. I could not believe that when they handed me this license plate. I go, I'm going to treasure this thing forever. So this license plate's about 64 years old. But anyways, it's brought me a lot of good luck. Thank you, folks.
Brian, where are you? Brian, come on up.
On the morning of the 13th of August, 1961, the residents of Berlin, Germany, woke up to find that they had 2 Berlins and 2 Germanys. That was the date that the wall went up. It was there for 28 years. Over 200 people died trying to get out of the east into West Berlin. I was stationed there from 68 to 70. This is a collection of memorabilia, photos of when I was there and before. You can't really see it from here, but I'll stick around after if we close, if anybody wants to look at it up close. It's got all the 4-power occupation units The city was occupied until '89 by the Russians, French, Britain, and us. The city was divided into 4 sections. I wanted to read this. This is a little thing here. I didn't even know anything about this. This all happened after I left. Our site was built on the rubble from World War II. They took it out to Grunewald, which is a large forest on the western side of the city of Berlin, and they piled up all the brick, mortar, wood, everything, until they got a hill about 150 to 200 meters tall. There's a ski slope on one side of it and an intel unit on the top of it. It was originally a British installation because it's in the British sector, but we moved in with it, with them, and basically took it over. This says Teufelsberg, which is the name they gave it, and that means, does anybody speak German here? Sehr gut. I'll stick to English. I don't want to embarrass myself. Yeah. Teufelsberg means the Devil's Mountain. And I think they called it that because they thought at that time we were the devil for destroying their city. Anyway, post-war peace was built upon the rubble of World War II by the ceaseless vigilance of thousands of men and women of the Allied armed forces who from 1960 to 1991 waged a secret war atop Teufelsberg to ensure the freedom of Berlin and world peace. The unprecedented 4-time winner of the prestigious Travis Trophy, awarded annually for the most significant contribution to the U.S. cryptologic effort worldwide. They won the award in 1973, 1983, 85, and 89. Now, I was long gone, so I didn't have anything to do with that. I did contribute my part. I had 8 people. I was called the chief operator, and we listened to radios. I was a Russian linguist at the time. On here, there's a piece of the wall, a piece of Stacheldraht from the early wall, barbed wire, all the hat emblems of all the East Germans and the French and the Russians and all that good stuff, Defense Language Institute, and our unofficial motto for the Army Security Agency was, "In God we trust. All others we monitor." And as I told Dick when he first introduced me when I came here, if I tell you any more, I'd have to shoot you. So, anyway, if anybody is interested in looking at the things, I'll be around, and you can come up and take a look.
Outstanding, Brian. Grant, here's another U.S. Army and then later U.S. Air Force veteran that served quite a bit of his active duty time with the United States Army in Germany. Picked up a little bit on that, and if there's occasion where I can't understand a word in German, the first person I reach out to is Grant.
Well, that's good, because then you can take everybody out.
There you go.
Okay. Well, first off, I spent 32 months in Berlin from 1963 to 1966. So know quite a bit about Germany, and that's also an opportunity to segue into this. But today I'm not going to be talking about Berlin. I'm going to be talking about my father and a few other things. Unfortunately, if you will, Bill, or take this one. This is a picture of my father, taken in about 1942. Quite remarkable for him to be even living today, because he was injured in 1939 and they were going to take his leg off. But unfortunately for the guy that wanted to do it, he couldn't get it. So anyways, That's my father. Got some Navy guys here too. There's only one picture. This is my Uncle Larry, the guy on the right side, and he joined the Navy in 1933 and was making it a career, and so he basically just segued right into the war itself. Here's my Uncle Lee. Now, all four of these guys served in World War II. That was Uncle Lee. He served in the Navy, and he served on a ship. I do not know what he was at with that. But my favorite uncle, if you will, was Uncle Joe Fleming. Uncle Joe went in 1943 and served, and more than that, he became the guard for Eisenhower and that type thing, and we have pictures of that and that type thing. I asked him why he joined the Airborne, and he said, the money. Someone that I would like to, if you will, open this up. Back in the day, these things hung in the pictures of a lot of homes. And my dad sent this to my grandmother, and she had all of the sons basically had something like this for her and that type thing. So that's from my grandma Fleming. There's no question about that. It's still remarkably in shape. One of the others is not, unfortunately. Now to go back to my Uncle Joe for a second, I was the first really born of the boys, except for my dad. My Uncle Joe brought me home the swastika, and I've always cherished it and that type of thing. It's still getting a little bit old as far as that goes, but it's a remembrance, and what it says on the back of it basically is for distinguished honor, and this is in the Nazis, not that thing for you. Okay. That's basically all I really have today, okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Grant, by the way, for his military service, put together one of the best, I'm going to refer to it as a scrapbook or memory book of his military service. I had the pleasure of viewing that here a while back. One of these days, I want you to bring that up and show them how organized you were in your thought process in putting that together. John Mullen. John, can you come on up, please? Let me give you a little background on John. John is a United States Marine Corps veteran, retiree, Vietnam combat veteran, 3 Purple Heart recipient. And John is also the author of this book called Loner, a memoir of Vietnam. And this highlights many of the personal experiences that John had as a Vietnam combat veteran. John, you tell me what you want to start with, and here is your mic.
Hello, guys. First off, I have these things in my room. I think the books of other people in the room really brought me about. But one of the best things I have in here is a book to eat sea rations using sauce. This was sent to us. It's a Charlie Cook book, and they make it, and who made it was the people that make Tabasco sauce. And
a requirement, right? For
right. Eating sea rations, you have to have a taste, and Tabasco sauce was a taste. And, so that was one of the most important things. You get sort of sick on it. Next thing, here are maps that were with me when I was over in Nam. This is maps from Phu Bai down to Hai Van Pass. You'll notice the marks in there. this was a code. Excuse me. These remarks were made and changed quite a few times so we could send our position without Charlie knowing where we were. And they would change quickly if when would be hit. I had that in my utilities when I got hit, and they went out to the hospital ship with me, and that way I kept it. The other map I have, there's only 6 of them in our company, and I got one going into Way City during the Tet Offensive. I had my own platoon, and I had a lieutenant come in, and he's written 2 of the books that are up here, and both of them have 18 to 20 pages about me in his books. He said, it was my platoon, your platoon, until the day you got hit. Then I had to take it over. Nick War was the author of the book. This is a book on, from the time I went in, boot camp, each enlistment on it, and then on the hospital ship, sanctuary, getting something pinned on me. I don't remember much. I was out cold. But it has my boot camp picture.
You were young once.
I went in the day I turned 17.
You look stud in that Marine Corps uniform, though, I can tell you that.
And these are...
Before you do, I just have, this one has a number below your on your chest. Well, what is that?
It might have been my brig time, I don't know.
What are you?
Okay. This here was, I also had it in my pocket, and it's a Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, passed out to all their men on how to handle American prisoners.
Wow, let me see that.
It's in Vietnamese, but then we got transferred. I got it translated, and it's in English. It's the same thing as we have. Drop your arms.
Dong Lao, stop. Gio Te Lin, hands up. Boing Zoing, gun down. You memorize all this?
No, I don't. Not now.
These were like pocket carriers?
No, these were the North Vietnamese pasting them all over the walls in Hoi An.
Ah.
And I also have a peace sign walk through these gates near Marble Mountain. That was the headquarters for the NVA all through the war, and no one found out about it, no American or any other, until the end of the war. But that was the VC headquarters for the Viet Cong.
And these texts, John, are for?
And these are pictures of the churches in Way City. And the housing, Way City was a beautiful city at one time. And we were up at Hai Von Pass. It's in one of the maps here. And 2-5, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, and a couple companies from 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, were the first ones to go into Way. We didn't know what was happening. We were up in the mountains, in the jungle, trying to stay alive. When the first airborne come in and relieved us, we thought we were getting a break. They had beautiful uniforms, brand new uniforms, new weapons. Boots were black. They were shaven. We were up in the mountains for 20 days. no change of clothes, no rips. We were pretty raggedy. They flew us right by our base camp, Food Lot 6, which we didn't know anything about, and they flew us into Pubai. Next morning, we went into Way City, crossed Perfume River, and went into hell. They told us maybe 600 VC were in there, and there was over 2,000. So it's pretty bad. These books, Nick War, the one that took over my platoon, he's written 2 books, and both of them have about 18 pages about me in each of his books. Others are my corpsman that saved my life, sewed my ear back on or put my ear back. He's passed away now. And his book right there. And these other books are about Way City, the Battle of Way. There's a lot more books, but all these are autographed by their authors, and a lot of the books written about Way City, there's many books out about it. Each one has a different story. I took in 52 men, and only 7 walked out unscratched, 6 killed. I spent 15 days on hospital ship Sanctuary. Took them 15 days to fly me to Philadelphia Naval Hospital. I spent 13 months in Philadelphia Naval Hospital, and I thought I was going to stay in. I knew I couldn't go back into combat because of the wounds, if I could train. But Navy Lieutenant, convenience of the government, you're retired. Worst words I ever heard. If it wasn't for the wife, I wouldn't be here. Thank you.
If you want some really harrowing reading about Vietnam experiences, I would suggest that you pick up one of John's books. You can either purchase this on Amazon, or he has copies as well. Loner, A Memoir of Vietnam by Staff Sergeant John Mullen, United States Marine Corps, retired. Who was the deliverer of this art? Kirk, you've participated, I think, in all of our show and tells, have you not?
I always like things that are repurposed. And these are repurposed. But when I flew into Cameron Bay, the Air Force picked us up in their blue buses. The first thing I saw was an octagon thing they pulled up. On the back it said Coke, 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 Coke. They had flattened out Coke cans. On the other side it said stop. So they didn't throw anything away. So these are they'd made this sickle out of Coke can. They don't throw anything away. They always repurpose everything. So that's a sickle that they do. I've got a bigger one at home than that. Then our, if we couldn't get Budweiser or Schlitz, our go-to beer was 33. So they had repurposed this beer can into a helicopter. So another example of they don't throw anything away. I couldn't believe, I used to see the old Honda 50 motorcycles over there that had a plethora of different parts on them, but they kept them going. So that's one of those things there that I got. So
adapt, improvise, and overcome, right?
That's right. That's right.
Thank you very, very much, Eric. Appreciate it. I want to take this opportunity to, for those folks that have dug out this stuff out of their closets and attics, let you know that we really do appreciate you sharing your stories with us today. May I have a hoo-ah for these folks? Thank you, thank you. You know, in a world where athletes and actors and musicians and internet stars are more commonly idolized, especially by America's youth, we should all be reminded to recognize and remember our military heroes as well. These are folks who have gone above and beyond the call of duty, often risking life and limb to save others. In fact, next Wednesday, March 25, is National Medal of Honor Day. What better day to honor our brave warriors who have demonstrated exceptional valor in combat? March 25th was chosen because the first Medal of Honor was presented on March 25, 1863, during the Civil War. It was presented to 6 U.S. Army volunteers of a group called Andrews Raiders for their heroic acts. Let me share a brief story on the history of Andrews Raiders. It's an interesting story. The Raiders consisted of 22 Union soldiers and 2 civilians who were led by a spy named James J. Andrews. The Raiders stole a Confederate locomotive named General and 3 boxcars on April the 12th of 1862 near Marietta, Georgia. Their goal was to destroy the Western and Atlantic Railroad and sabotage Confederate supply lines and telegraph lines along the 100-mile route to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now, disrupting, destroying, or cutting off enemy supply lines that are used to transport items such as personnel, food, ammunition, equipment, and medical supplies, combined with limiting the enemy's communications, can cripple an army by destroying its combat effectiveness, reducing operational mobility, and negatively impacting morale of the troops. Well, the Raiders traveled north on the locomotive, damaging railroad tracks and cutting telegraph lines all along the way. However, the conductor of the train, General, a gentleman by the name of William A. Fuller, pursued the Raiders relentlessly, first on foot, then via a handcar, and then with other locomotives, including a locomotive named Texas. Well, the Raiders abandoned the stolen General after running out of fuel and water. And unfortunately, they were captured within days by the Confederates. And while the Raiders' mission failed, it did not cause long-term damage to the railway. It is remembered as one of the most daring acts of the Civil War. Now, because the Raiders were in civilian clothing, several of them, including the leader, James Andrews, were executed as spies by the Confederacy. They were hanged. Then 1 year later, in 1863, 6 of the survivors were recognized for their bravery and awarded the Medal of Honor. One of the Raiders, Private Jacob Parrott, later to become Lieutenant Parrott, was the very first recipient of the Medal of Honor. It was not until 2024, 2 years ago, 162 years later, that 2 other Raiders were recognized for their bravery and awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously. This is a photo taken in 1908 of the surviving members of Andrews Raiders, 6 of whom received the Medal of Honor. The The photo was taken in front of the monument built by the state of Ohio in 1890 at the Chattanooga National Cemetery. Were you to read the book of The Great Locomotive Chase, you would find it to be a fascinating story. Now, the Medal of Honor is the United States government's highest and most prestigious military decoration that may be awarded to recognize American soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Space Force guardians, and Coast Guardsmen who have distinguished themselves by acts of valor. The medal was approved by Congress in 1861 and is normally awarded by the President of the United States. But as it is presented in the name of the United States Congress, it is often mistakenly referred to as the Congressional Medal of Honor. You at some time may have heard the term Medal of Honor winner, but out of respect for those who currently wear the medal, the term recipient, not winner, should be used. I think you will find that the living recipients do not view the Medal of Honor as something that was won. They view the medal as something that was bestowed upon them to carry as a symbol of the sacrifices of all who have served. The Department of Veteran Affairs states that between 1861 and current year, 42 million U.S. military service members have served this nation during times of war. In the 165 years since 1861, 3,552 medals of honor have been bestowed upon 3,533 American servicemen, roughly one in every 12,000 service members. 19 service members have received 2 Medals of Honor, and as of today, only 61 Medal of Honor recipients are still living. You might be interested to know that Mary Edwards Walker, an Army surgeon of the Civil War fame, was the first and only woman recipient of the medal. Douglas Monroe of World War II fame was the first and only Coast Guard recipient. And William Willie Johnston of the Civil War era was the youngest recipient at only 13 years of age. Also of interest is that only 18.7% of the Medal of Honor have been awarded posthumously, less than 20%. And all 3 of the United States unknown soldiers have been presented with the Medal of Honor in recognition of their sacrifice and the sacrifices of all who have served our country. Regardless of rank or income, recipients of the Medal of Honor currently receive a special tax-free pension currently set at $69,360 per year for 2026, or $5,780 per month. This was just recently approved last year by Congress, and it booted Medal of Honor recipients from an annual salary of $16,000 to $69,000. Greatly, greatly deserved. Recipients are guaranteed burial at Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors, and their academically qualified dependent children are offered appointments to the military service academies. On March 25, National Medal of Honor Day, I hope you're reminded that it's not only the number of awards an actress or an actor may have on their mantle, or the number of home runs a baseball player hit in his career that can make them a hero. We should attribute gallantry and going above and beyond the call of duty to perform acts of heroism and valor as well. Please remember and honor the heroes who have been awarded the Medal of Honor. I do have a few announcements that I would like to make. May I see the hands of those of you who are members of this American Legion Post 27? Raise them high. A lot of folks in here. Well, this announcement is specifically for you. Next Monday, March 23rd, beginning at noon hour and running through 6 p.m., this Post 27 will conduct their annual membership elections for post officers and the executive committee. Your votes must be cast in person. No mail-in or over-the-phone votes. Now, as you will see on the graphic, other than the post commander, none of the current positions are contested. The two members running for post commander are Victoria Lauria, a United States Marine Corps veteran who currently serves as the post commander and was the former first vice commander, running against Scott Jackson, a USA veteran and former second vice commander of this post. Under no circumstances would I advise you on how to vote, but I will state that Victoria Lauria, the current post commander, has been a tremendous supporter of this Red Friday program. And in my opinion, Victoria and her staff have done a stellar job for Post 27 in supporting our Red Friday program. And if elected, I do believe that Victoria and her staff will continue to serve the best interest of Post 27. So I implore you to mark that date on your calendar, next Monday, noon. Drop by, cast your vote. It's important that you do so. If necessary, consider carpooling with other Post 27 members to drop in and vote. You will require your Post 27 American Legion ID card, and you will require a driver's license, photo ID as well. Believe me, you need a photo ID to vote. Here, by the way, I do have a flyer for each of the candidates running for post commander. Victoria, as well as Scott Jackson. I would have liked to have given you a photograph of Scott Jackson, but I consulted with officers here at the post and nobody had a photo of him other than this, and if I tried to blow it up, you wouldn't even recognize him. So that's on Scott, not me. Upcoming guest speakers. Please be advised that we have scheduled a variety of guest speakers to join us over the coming weeks. So please plan to be in attendance and support these speakers and demonstrate our appreciation for their support of our program. Just a note, I have been advised that various military commands have ordered United States service members not to wear uniforms and military gear off posts, particularly in response to heightened security threats or localized risk. These temporary restrictions often deem force protection conditions, prohibit off-post uniform wear to protect personnel. Policies vary by location, branch, and command, and they often allow commuting. But today, because of what's going on around the world and what's going on in our country, these service members are unable to wear uniforms off post if they have any intention to stop. Convenience store, fueling, whatever. They can go from post directly home without getting out of their vehicle. Unfortunate. Tumultuous time we live in today. Barry McDonald has advised me that we do have a one shirt to pick up, and I think we'll probably have to mail that to the individual. And if you wish to order any of the Red Friday shirts, custom shirts, please get with Barry or right over here after the meeting. You know, I've got a lot of custom embroidered military ball caps, and I wear them daily, as many of you do. Most folks don't recognize me if I'm not wearing a cap. I was once asked by a civilian why veterans are always wearing a military cap. And my reply was this: we don't wear veteran hats to impress you. We wear them to find each other. Just think about that. I do want to make a couple of final announcements here. As you know, the past several weeks, Nancy Fassbender has been ramrodding a program called 100X, which is a opportunity for us to do surveys on hundreds upon hundreds of different vendors around the country. And for each of those surveys, her 501c organization, Arizona Veterans Honor Tour, will receive $1.60 for each of those 1-minute surveys that can be done off your phone or off your computer. If any of you have struggled with being able to get online to do that, or if you just haven't tried it yet and you wish to stay a few minutes after the meeting, we're going to provide you a tutorial on exactly how to do that in order to contribute to this honorable cause. We are time limited because at the end of the first week of April, this program is no longer going to be available for us to be able to get these $1.60 per survey funds. So please, if you're struggling with it, please stay after the meeting and we'll give you a brief tutorial. Just get your phone out if you didn't bring your phone. There are those of us that have phones, and we'll show you how it's done.
These cards are what we're talking about. I'll be right over there. I just want to let you know I need 125 people to sign up to do 50 surveys, and then we get $10,000. So I'm pushing that because the airlines have did a no-no to us. So I need the money. And right now, like the people say, if you get an email from us or a forward email, you'll have to type it in. Because if somebody forwards you an email and you do it a website right there, sometimes it won't show up. So you have to physically type it. But one other quick thing before I do the drawing, I wanted to add on the Medal of Honor. We have 2 Medal of Honors in Arizona. And Dick has gotten to meet one of them, and his name is Bruce Crandall, and he's the oldest living recipient of the Medal of Honor. And we just had another one move in, and his name is Leroy Petrie, and I'm trying to get him to speak, but I'm not quite sure yet if he's going to be able to. He's still kind of shy about that. So, but those are the 2 that we have in Arizona.
The funds are going to be, for these surveys that we complete, are going to sponsor a complete all expense paid trip for 15 Arizona veterans to Branson, Missouri. and that will take place in November. So you're doing this for a great cause. Again, to our first-time guests, thank you for joining us today. We sincerely hope that you'll return to share in our camaraderie and to support our mission. Please know that you will always be welcome at our Red Friday assemblies. And as a final reminder, let's not overlook the importance of our Red Friday mission to keep our deployed warfighters in our thoughts and prayers, and to continue to demonstrate our support for these fine men and women. Enjoy your weekend.